Recording. We're good to go.
Oh, that means me.
That means you.
So hi guys, we're going to talk about recruiting today. We're all going to talk about, different ways to recruit or different places that you can find recruits and just sort of go from there. I should have really written notes because I tend to ramble and forget words. So please forgive me ahead of time. But I guess before we get into, the meat and potatoes, as Barb would say, I want to talk about something that's really, really important. And before you start recruiting, you need to really look at yourself, basically. You need to take a step back and look at the way different things and ask yourself a big question. Would you join with you? Because girls aren't necessarily just joining Jamboree, are they? They're joining with you. They're putting all their trust and faith and hopes into you. So are you going to, do you portray the kind of person that is going to help them? So when you go out to home parties, are you dressed respectfully? Simple things like please and thank you. Do you have manners? Are you fun? Are you exciting? Are you likable? There are all things that, you may feel shy and you don't think that, you're very talkative and all those sorts of things. And that's okay. You can be shy and be lovable, but you definitely have to come across as someone that is very knowledgeable about our product. So that's a huge thing. People need to like you, they need to know you, and they need to trust you. And one great way that you can build trust is having a wealth of knowledge on our products. So make sure you learn about them. Don't always just ask your upline to tell you what's in a product or something like that. Find out and research it and keep up to date with everything that's happening. I guess especially, always have your nails done. Always have hot nails. Don't have, ragged edges and all those sorts of things, always, look the part. You might not be an executive yet. That doesn't mean you don't have to act like one. And especially now with social media, this is a huge thing. I don't know about you guys, but I add everyone as a friend on Facebook now. Everyone I meet at parties, online and offline, just everyone I speak to about Jamboree, I'll be like, oh, hey, let's be friends. So everyone sees what you do, right? Everyone sees it. Not me though. I don't fake it at all. I'm always this excited. But everyone sees what you do. Okay. So it's really important that you remember to be positive. And I don't mean you have to be fake and everything's perfect and you're amazing and you earned $5 million yesterday. You want to be positive. You don't want to be this ranty person. Have you seen some of the posts? Some of the posts I see, oh my gosh, not Jam Girls, but like even other network marketers who start rants about, oh my God, if one more person adds me to a group without asking, I'm going to kick some stuff, that looks terrible. It looks terrible because you're giving a really bad name to our industry. We need to be really supportive women to ourselves, to other Jamboree people, and to other companies as well, because that really does show who you are as a person. Don't swear. Don't, just have a real look at what you post. Not just Jamboree, it's your life, and I go, I hear, oh, but my profile is my personal space. And, if I want to make racist and awful remarks or whatever it is, that's okay. But the thing is, as soon as you start adding to your teammates, even to your personal profile, they see that. And you have to be really careful with what you post and how you portray yourself. So before you start recruiting, before we go any further, would you join with you? Would you want to be on your team? Do you have the knowledge? Are you supportive? Are you genuine? Are you transparent? Are you kind? All of those things. Think about it and really take an outside look, because you're not going to get the recruits. People aren't going to join with you if you're a negative Nancy. They're just not. That's me.
Awesome. And you're still muted. So I guess that's me now. Nikki, that was great. When I said fake it till you make it, when you were talking about, are you somebody who's confident? Are you somebody who's happy and excitable and excited? And I think that's where fake it till you make it really comes in, because I think there's so many times where you just don't have that confidence to go to an in-home party and be, because you're nervous as hell, especially when you first start doing in-home parties, or especially when you start doing online parties and you're doing Facebook Lives and stuff, and you're thinking, oh, I'm not comfortable doing this. That's where you fake it till you make it. I mean, at the end of the day, there's another quote that says something like, what is it? Work for the job that you want, not the job that you have, or, dress for the job you want, not the job that you have. It's all like that, all the whole fake it till you make it thing. The same as what Nikki said about you may not be an executive yet, but if that's where you want to be, then start behaving like one. It's massive, and is totally right where she said attitude is contagious. Like, it's, especially with if you've got a team and if you've got a bit of a downline, I think it's super important to really be keeping your attitude in check. And I know there's things obviously that happen in Jamboree that frustrate everybody sometimes, but it's keeping that attitude in check and being that positive person that can, look at things from a different angle and portray, put a positive spin on things. So that's really important as well. I know that has nothing to do with recruiting at all, but I just thought of that then. So Ange wanted me to talk a little bit about recruiting on Instagram, and I'll be totally honest, I haven't recruited a random person from Instagram, but many of my team members are women who I have a relationship with from Instagram. So
the other reason I wanted to talk about this is because she was recruited from Instagram.
Yes, that's right. Yeah. Yeah. So Morgan Cullen, who's my upline, we were Instagram friends for years before anything came up about Jamboree. And a few of my, one of my big leaders, Maddie Fraser, she was my Instagram friend. I didn't know her, anywhere else other than Instagram. Cassie McNeil, she was my Instagram friend. So there's heaps of girls in my downline who were Instagram contacts. And the reason that we were friends on Instagram had nothing to do with business or nothing to do with, nails. It was all to do with kids and family. And I know that kids and family isn't everybody's priority. And I know that people who don't have kids use their Instagram for other things, and that's great. But what we had in common was that we were all pregnant with, around the same time, or we all had kids similar age, or we had the same interests and likes. And so we began following each other on Instagram and built a relationship and became really good friends. I actually flew to Queensland and met Maddie way before Jamboree. I was on a holiday with my mother-in-law, which you can imagine how fun that was. And Maddie lived in the next town, and so her and I met up for the first time. We had never met before, but we had an Instagram relationship. And I remember my husband thinking that it was really weird when we had the Melbourne event, the original Melbourne event, because Cassie, one of my downline, flew over from Perth. We'd never met. She flew over from Perth and stayed at our house. And my husband was so worried that we were getting catfished because she was my internet friend. And he thought it was this massive deal. I had to show him photos of her and her family and her children and stuff so that he knew that she was totally legit and that we weren't getting catfished. But yeah, so Instagram for me is about building those relationships. And once you have built that relationship, that's when things, people will start to notice what you're doing for work and how you're maybe able to afford things for your family, or maybe how you're a lot happier now, or maybe how you've made lots of new friends. And people may start to notice that kind of stuff and start to be a little bit curious. So with Instagram, just a very basic rundown is I do choose to have a personal account and a Jamboree account, but that is because I've used Instagram for about 6 years. So I already had quite a good, a really great network on there of people who we were following, and I was following them because of their life and what they do and what they post. So I didn't want to all of a sudden just turn that into my Jamboree account. But in saying that, like with all social media, I will still always post a random post about Jamboree or about a Because of Jamboree story or something like that on my personal Instagram, because they're the ones that maybe start to reach out to the contacts that you already have, your warm market, and start to maybe prick a few people's ears up, and they're thinking, oh, okay, maybe this is something that I'm interested in. My Jamboree account, I definitely need to start working on a lot more. I think I've only posted on it about 30 times. But I think, again, with following, with following people, it's about looking for people who you think would be great team members for you. So start searching for stay-at-home mums, start using hashtags and searching for mothers groups, stay-at-home mums. You can even look for things in your own area so that you're looking for local people. But remember that you obviously don't just need teamies from your local area. You can have teamies from a lot of different places now. So Deb, it's totally, the whole personal versus business is totally up to you in terms of how you want to use it. I know that, like, my sponsor, Morgan, she's just started recently Just a Jamboree account, and she actually has a private personal account. So that's pretty much all just about family and kids and her life. She's just set up a business one, which is awesome. Like, she's constantly pumping out business posts, and I think she's already got some ridiculous amount of followers on there, like 500 followers or something, just from, the last few months, just setting it all up. So, it's just deciding what you want to do. If you're already using Instagram and you use it a lot already, then possibly start a different one, start a business one, and you can actually link your profiles now, which makes it a lot easier to use Instagram for business as well. I know Kate has done the same thing. She set up a separate one. So but in terms of recruiting, it's honestly about planting those seeds. So like everything else, it's building those relationships with people and using all the things that Nikki said. Would I want to be employed by myself? Would I want to be on my own team? And think about the things that you're posting. Same with the whole, think about what you're posting on social media. It's exactly the same with Instagram. Think about the things you're posting. Post positive Because of Jamboree stories. If you're comfortable posting a photo of your kids, post a photo of your kids. One thing that you can do, if posting photos of your kids on your business Instagram is not something that you want to do because you're not comfortable sharing that, post a photo of when you're at the park and they're over on the swings and, you can't see them close up, but still something that just puts a little bit of your own life into a business account, so that it's not just constantly a photo of you and your nails holding something and saying, look at this brand new product. You need to be putting yourself into that account. So just think about that. Think about what you want to post on your Instagram and how you want to actually start to gain followers and how you want to put yourself out there and portray yourself. So, just try and not make it just a whole scrolling through full of different nail fees. You want to really make it about you and smile, like Kate said. Just honestly, just be the happy person that you are, and that's it from me. I know that I didn't tell you how to get out there and recruit on Instagram, but there's no formula as to how to do it. It's about connections. So I hope that helps a few of you.
So I have a question why you guys are eating soup and doing nails and hiding and looking at the roof. Okay, so quick show of hands. Tell me who is totally scared out of your mind about this whole recruiting thing. Like holy holiness, who's scared? Right? Nikki's got her hand up. Kate's not scared. Like, I still to this day, it scares the holy helium out of me. Okay.
I'm terrified of my 5-year-old. Does that count?
So one of the things that's really actually funny about this is one of my personal recruits is on here, Ashley. And I'm going to tell this story, which will probably be funny for her. It's the first time she's ever heard it, but it's about her. So I met Ashley. So, Nikki is talking about how your vibe attracts your tribe. Okay. And I'm sure some of this is how it seems in my mind, Ashley's recruiting story. It probably didn't seem like this to her, but this is what was going on in my mind. So when I met Ashley at an event that I really did not want to go to, I was tired. I had to get up early, take a tent. It was hot. My kids were making me crazy. My husband loves to help me set up for events, and it actually makes me bonkers because he's all up in my business, and I'm like, he just wrecks my flow. Okay. I like to set up by myself. I'm a control freak, in case you didn't know that. Anyway, So I go to this event that I'm super not jazzed to be there. I force myself to put on makeup because I feel like that's presented, and jeans, and, you know, the nice black shirt that I wear that has Jamboree across the front of it because it's personal branding. And I go to this event, okay? And there is nobody there for like the first 2 hours of this event. And so I'm standing there, and it's before Christmas, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is a total waste of my time. This is what's going through my head. And along comes my first customer for the day, I might add, and her name's Ashley Weston, and she's right down here on the screen. And she rocks up, and she's so happy, and I totally bounce off of happy people. And she's got babies everywhere, okay? She always has babies everywhere. She's got twins. Anyway, and she's so super excited about Jamboree that I totally feed off of the fact that she's super excited about Jamboree. And I've been doing this business now for a long time. And I didn't ask her to join my team, but she did buy some stuff. And you know the next funniest bit? The market did end up being fine and whatnot. But then I didn't follow up with her either. Did I? No. But she called me, and she said, she called me, not me call her. Because the correct thing to do would be that I had called her. So if you're on my team and you're watching, I do it wrong sometimes too. Don't do what I do. So she calls me to get more stuff. And I was like, huh. But that's when, because I'd had that little bit of time, I started to think to myself, she's called me, which doesn't happen very often. She's called me. She likes them so much. She's followed up with me. And then obviously now she's on my team. So one of the things that Nikki touched on was really, I think, is important in that is a couple of things. That your vibe totally attracts your tribe. If I had have been a grumpy pants, which is what I totally felt like when Ashley came up to my table, I highly doubt that she would have bought from me. Well, she might have, because she's a little bit obsessed with jams. But she probably would have found somebody else to call and get jams from, because there are plenty of Jamboree consultants out there. So I'm going to think in my mind that the vibe that I put out there totally brought her to my tribe. Okay? That's what I think anyway. She can nod, right? So with that though, one of the things that Nikki talked about just a little bit was about personal branding. And I feel like personal branding for your business, because we're in this social media marketing stratosphere, a whole lot of that comes down to your everyday. Personal branding can be in so many different ways. You can do it by the Jamboree t-shirt that you wear, the Jamboree purse that you wear, the nails that you have on your fingers are the like no-brainer thing. If you leave your house without nails on, you need to smack yourself. That's not okay. You never leave your house without jams on your fingers. Taryn Matthews, you know what I'm talking about. Anyway, so, there are so many different ways you can do it, but it's also about, that my nails have to, one, look good. When I go to school to pick up my kids, I am a trackie pant mum when I pick up my kids from school. There is nothing wrong with that. But that being said, my nails are on point. If I wear my Jamboree stuff, I make sure that I look like I'm going to work. Okay? It's not just something to hide the fact that I'm chasing kids at home. So I make myself look together so that they know that this is a real business. When I go to an in-home party, even if I don't want to put makeup on, I put it on. If I am doing an event, I have makeup on and I look put together, because that's the personal branding that I want to have for my business. Something that Taryn was talking about with Instagram was, Facebook, what you talk about, what you hashtag, they're all personal branding things. And this is stolen from when Barb did the training in Bendigo. Jude Levy was the guest speaker, and she spoke about social media marketing and personal branding and what to post and what not to post. If you even have the slightest inkling of when you're posting something, when you're sharing something, whether it's negative, maybe controversial, you think it might not be perceived how you want your business to be perceived, one, don't post it. First rule, you know, it might be a political thing. It might be something that's going to get your friends' panties in a bunch, okay? Don't post it. You can talk about it in the private sector. You can do whatever you want. Don't post it, or send it to somebody else for them to have a look at and go, maybe not, or sleep on it. That's the third option. Because let me just say something. Once you post it on social media, it's this awesome thing called screenshot, and it's saved for life. Okay, once it's there, it's always there. And you want your customers, you know, the people that you want to attract to your business to go, hey, that's something that I want to be a part of. That's something that I want, that I know a Jamboree girl and she's awesome. Because if I was posting on my Facebook, I'm at a market today, I really don't want to be here, it's hot and I'm annoyed. Who wants to come to the market and check out the Jamboree stuff? Not me, right? The other thing that I wrote notes, really good notes, that I wanted to also say with Instagram, hashtagging and personal branding. When you think about yourself, you have to brand yourself, whether it's, hey, you're a mum, you know, you've got lots of kids, you live in Australia, you wear jams, whatever it is. If you think about it for a couple of minutes, I'm sure you can think of what your personal brand is. And I think it's really important to kind of sit down, spend a little bit of time on that and go, hey, this is my brand. So and with that for Instagram, to make sure you hashtag what your brand is. So for me, I hashtag Aussie life all the time, because that's what we're doing. This is our Aussie life. I hashtag mum life because everybody looks at that. I hashtag Jamboree. If you're not hashtagging Jamboree in your Jamboree post, you would be surprised how many people do that. Incredible amounts of people don't hashtag Jamboree in their Jamboree posts. So really take a couple of minutes to think about what your personal branding is, and make sure your hashtags are short. They are not, I love my life on Tuesdays. That's way too long when it's a Monday, or Monday issues with dinner. That's not a hashtag. It's not searchable. Monday, hashtag dinner, hashtag no food. Do you know what I mean? That is a better option for your Monday night no dinner thing. So
can I just interrupt quickly?
Go for it.
With the hashtag thing as well. I started doing with my hashtags, instead of putting the hashtags in the actual post, I'd put them in the first comment below. Yeah. Or I've actually got a bunch of hashtags saved in the notes section of my mobile, so I can just copy the my standard hashtags and then post them on my post. And it just means that when your posts are flicking up through people's news feeds, they're not seeing like 4,000 different hashtags. They're just getting your main kind of comment, what you're posting about. But because your hashtags are still there, they're still going to be searchable and they're still going to see them. But yeah, it just doesn't it just isn't this huge amount of hashtags in people's faces. So anyway, sorry, Ange, back to you.
Oh, no, you're fine. I'm just cruising here through the messages.
While you do that, can I just say really quickly about personal branding?
Yep.
When people think about personal branding, it may seem really overwhelming. Like, how do I do personal branding? Like, do I need a logo? And like, if you ask people on my personal profile what my personal branding is, or like, what they know about me, they'll say coffee, Kmart, crazy.
Babies on my brain.
Babies on my brain. And that's just me. That's like the quirky bits of me. And you know what? When I started, I didn't like Kmart that much. And then, I'd like go a bit more and a bit more. I'm like, that's awesome. And it just needs to be things that are relatable as well. Who doesn't like Kmart and coffee?
Exactly, Nikki. That is like you're the perfect example of exactly what I'm talking about. Like, for sure. So the personal branding thing, it's not difficult. It's something everyone should kind of sit down and think about it. We know this was not our planned homework, but can I make this a homework assignment? Yes, because we've got 10 minutes left. So this week, homework, here you go, to share with Nikki, Taryn, me, or Kate. Spend 15 minutes in beast mode and write down some ideas for what your personal brand is. Okay, so like 5 or 6 things that you associate with what you do every day. So it might be mum life, it might be coffee, came up, baby stole my brain, which is the funniest hashtag ever. It's something that's searchable, okay? Because of Jamberry is obviously something that should always be tagged. Brittany Colbert does she's one of my girls in Canada, and she always tags a whole bunch of Canadian specific to the area that she lives in stuff. So, you might hashtag Bendigo, hashtag whatnot. So make sure that, and then you put them in the notes section of your phone. If you didn't know this, when you go to post on Instagram, you should not be posting those hashtags over and over and over again. That is a non-income producing activity. They should be copied and pasted from your notes. If you save them in your notes section, you can't see that, of your phone, then you can literally copy and paste them into your Instagram. So that's your homework. Beast mode, 15 minutes, figure out what your brand is and send it to your sponsor, not to your sponsor, to Kate, me, Taryn, or Nikki Morris. What do you think about that?
All right, I'm going to jump in because I'm going to talk forever otherwise, and I've only got 8 minutes. But I like that homework end. Okay, so first off, with recruiting, so my girls will have heard this, but hopefully you hear something new. The first thing to do, that I recommend doing with recruiting is vision it. So put it in front of you. How many people are you going to have join your team this month? For me, I need accountability. So if I've got that I'm going to have 2 people join my team this month and I put it out there to someone else, like Battle Buddies on your team page, if there's a post wherever, I know that I'm being held accountable to those 3 people or whatever it is that I put out there. And then figure out who those 2 people are going to be. So I find that when you do any sort of like recruiting challenge, it usually takes a good month or 2 to come to fruition. So if you're searching for 6 to 10 people, or even just 2, and you're chatting to 10 different people about joining, chances are you might get like 2 or 3 of those 10 people. So not everyone's going to actually push the button and join. So, the more people that you talk to, the more likely it is that they're going to join your team, and the more numbers you're going to have join your team. But not just, all right, I'm going to talk to 20 people this month about joining my team and then stop, because that'll probably happen next month or the month after. But the month after that and the one after that, you're not going to have anyone to join your team. So I know that Ali, one of my girls who consistently recruits 2 to 3 people a month, she talks to so many people about joining her team. And she's just had a girl join that sat there for a year, and she just kept on following up. And, follow-up's huge as well, because if you don't follow up with those people, chances are they might meet another Jamberry consultant or another DS consultant, and that person's going to ask them to join their team. And they may not have been ready when you were talking to them, but they're ready when that person asks them, or that person, asks them a question about it and works through their objections, and all of a sudden they realize that they have a need for doing this business from home. So I've got some notes here too, they're tiny. So another thing, I think people are scared. They feel like, oh my God, I don't want to ask people to join. Like it's like a pyramid scheme type thing. Like we even feel like, there's that perception of what we do. And at the end of the day, like, guess what? We get paid. I get paid. Like if I thought it was a pyramid scheme and never joined, I would not have made the amount of money that I've made and been able to stay home with my kids. So, Morgan says to me, she was really scared reaching out to me. I've been friends with Morgan for a long, long time, but we hadn't connected for years. And when she found out Jamberry was launching in Australia, she reached out to me, and she said she was really nervous, like reaching out to someone that she hadn't spoken to for years. But if she hadn't have done that, it wouldn't have changed my life for, so many amazing reasons. So don't be afraid to reach out to someone, because, for me, like I wanted to replace my income and stay home with my son, who's now 18 months. So I was pregnant with him when I started Jamberry. But for someone else, they might be goaling to pay off their credit card, or, earn another $50 a week. Like it doesn't have to be your goal. Like if you're goaling to quit your job, that's awesome, but find out what their goal is. So always talking to people. So definitely planting seeds. I think also working with objections. If you can go and find Barbara Block's Working with Objections call and listen to it and practice it. So come up with like the most common objections and practice them, because the more that you practice working with people on objections and breaking down their objections, the better you get at it. And I swear to God, like, I can straight up say to people now, and I'm not the most amazing recruiter by any means. I don't have, it's a juggle managing 2 young kids and a team and all the rest of it. But when I put my head to it, I don't fail, because I feel like, my story is awesome and people go, oh, wow, but how likely is it that I can make that money? And I'm like, I can show you, I can work with you, and offering to work with people, like, not just throw them in the deep end. And if you don't know, reach up to your upline TM as well. But breaking down those things, and don't be afraid to ask someone as well, like, what's holding you back? What's your hesitation? And Barb said the other day on a call, I think it was the exec call, was it you guys? Like,
yeah.
When are you ready to start earning money? Like, we could sign you up this Wednesday and you could get paid on Friday. Just asking that simple question might be like, oh, well, I'm ready now. Like, let's do this. So, So another thing that I talk to my girls about is Tiny, their interest, not yours. So you can sit there and talk to them about why they need to join Jamberry, but it might not relate to them at all. So just having a conversation with them and asking them simple questions, you can figure out ways to insert Jamberry in the conversation. And with my girls, I use like a little thing that says validate, relate, plant a seed, and then ask a question or move on. So when you're working with the objections, validating their concerns, relating to them in some way, like, so, I completely understand none of my friends were interested in Jamberry at all, but what I found is that just through wearing Jamberry, I've met so many new people who fell in love with jams, and that's how I built my business. So validate, relate, plant the seed. So you've just planted that you've been able to build a successful business without having a friend network that supported you. And then you can turn around and say, like, I don't know, ask a question. Or if you feel like, oh, it's super awkward and I do this all the time because I just kind of rattle it off and I go, and run away, I'll just change the subject. And, if it's someone that you can follow up with, like a friend or a network, you're going to see them again and you've already planted that seed. And you don't have to be desperate for them to join your team this month. I think the more seeds that you plant around the place, the more people are going to perk up their ears. And if you just kind of keep coming back and finding ways to talk to them about it or get them over for a one-on-one demo and that kind of thing, like, definitely don't go for the kill, go in there gently and slowly and really create those relationships. It's not network marketing, it's network marketing for a reason. Like, it's all about networking. We've got less than a minute. I can't see anything else. I'm like racing over my notes. I think that's about it. I'll cut myself off there. Does anyone have any questions?
I love how you handle those objections. Really cool.
Thanks. I do working with objections training, so I've done a few of them, but in there and practice it. And you're muted, by the way.
That would explain why she couldn't hear me. Janet, you had a question. Do you want to ask it?
For example, Adam Gascoigne, what did he say?
Are you there, Janet? No, I think she's gone. Okay. She can ask. We'll do that later. Okay. So, thanks, guys. Recording will be available tomorrow at 10.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Nikki, Kate. Oh, Kate's already gone. Do you want to jump back on another one and we'll just finish up? Stop.